Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, there is something I want to talk about today. And this thing has caught my attention because it's a concern to many parents, parents of young children. These parents moved, migrated from their home country to the Western world, particularly Canada, US, UK, and some other countries in Europe for a better life. They move with their kids. Some of them are toddlers or they're growing up and, especially kids that are below 15, 16 years of age. And when they get to this new country, because they see that, oh, they are looking in want for a better life. Yes, that is it. They are there for a better life to help their children to grow, to get Western culture and proper education and so many other things. Not like these things are not in their home country, but there's some level of exposure that we all believe that the Western world gives and offers. Now, these parents are here and they register our kids in daycare, kindergarten, elementary schools, and then they get a report. These parents receive a call, and this call is worrisome. Why? Because they get thrown into some kind of confusion that they never expected. And they start wondering, wow, what is happening? My child didn't do anything wrong. Why is this complaint or why is this observation coming up now? And what is that? It is what we call ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. This is what many of these schools, daycares tend to diagnose these kids or recommend to the parents that, oh, it's like your child is hyperactive, your child is too all over the place. Start making them feel that there is something wrong with their kids. Many parents are worried because they believe that their kids are misdiagnosed. They realize that this child I brought that has at home, this child is behaving normal. This child does not act like he has anything that will give me concern. But because we are now in school, the report I get is different from what I see in my kid at home. And they don't know how to handle it. They don't know whether to believe what the school is saying or whether to just overlook it. So there was this lady that was concerned. Her video went viral because she was worried about the information or the message she got from school. Previously, she goes to the school to pick the son and, oh, how is he doing? How was he? And they'll say, oh, he did well. He's very active. He participates in everything. And she was happy, right? That's what you expect from your child, to be active and participate in everything happening in class. You don't want a dull kid that doesn't know what he's doing in school. So once and twice she has gotten the report, even when she doesn't ask. The owner of the kindergarten or daycare used to report and say, oh, he was very active today. And then one day she got to the school or she got called and she got to the school and all she heard was, actually we have a concern. And so she frowned and her face was like, oh, what can be your concern? And they heard, I think your son has hyperactive behavior. He's restless. He might need to see a doctor. And she was taken aback, like, hold on a second. This boy is a normal kid. There is nothing wrong with him. And she was advising that, oh, maybe before you bring him to school, before you bring him to daycare, take him out, go to the field, play with him in the field or in the park for like an hour so that he can exercise himself, wear out all his energy, dissipate his energy, then he can now come to daycare where he will be calmer. And she was like, oh no, why? How would that work for me? I'm a working mom, and that's why I bring my son even to a daycare at 3 years. I mean, if you are a stay-at-home mom, at 3 you can keep your son or your child with you, because mostly full school resumes starts in at 5 years of age because she resides in Canada. And she was worried and said, no, how will I have to leave my work? This is a daycare that starts at 9 a.m. and I take my time, take him to the park to play off, and before I bring him to daycare. Then what is the essence of the daycare? Daycare is a place where kids play and learn. So that was not going to work for her. And she was concerned. I was like, parents, please, what do you think? And that is not the only condition. There are so many other instances of parents that also had this experience and are complaining that their children are being termed, especially Black kids, are being termed uh, hyperactive, are being termed maybe on the spectrum, or they are assuming they have ADHD. And nobody wants to hear that. But I want to let you know that ADHD, one, can be misdiagnosed. Two, can also, even when you are diagnosed to have ADHD, it is not a stigma. It is not something we should be ashamed of. So it's on both sides. Number one, being overdiagnosed or misdiagnosed as having ADHD when the child is perfectly acting normal, not having any hormonal, psychological issues, or a child that is already actually diagnosed having to get the right treatment. So let's look at this. What are the causes of misdiagnosis? Number one, cultural differences. The African people, the Black people, are known to be very, very active. We are very boisterous. We are very, you know, energized. We have a lot of activities we get ourselves involved in. We are very playful, friendly everywhere. So you find out that the Black community and the Caucasian community, the way we behave are a little bit different. So when you find yourself in a foreign land, in US, UK, Europe, and Canada, they tend to wonder that, oh, this person is so energetic. You exude a lot of energy, a lot of persona, a lot of action, and they feel this makes them sometimes in kids almost start diagnosing them as ADHD. And so it sometimes these cultural differences have to be recognized to know that this child might not have any issues. This child is coming from a family where they are very active, they are very energetic, they have a lot going on with them, not in a bad way, but positively. They're full of life. So it's not it's wrong to just categorize any active child as having ADHD. So this is one of the reasons why this condition can be misdiagnosed in a child. More schools need to be educated, enlightened to know that kids that are active, kids that are full of life, kids that are very energetic might not necessarily be caused by ADHD. Yes, so tone down on that diagnosis, tone down on giving too much advice about these children. Another reason why there's a bit of misdiagnosis, especially maybe with the Black community, is because we eat a lot of carbohydrates in our diet. I mean, imagine yam, bread, rice, gari, or maybe fufu or something. Our meals are mainly carbs. And carbohydrate digest to give you sugar, glucose. And glucose we know is a stimulant. It's once you have take a lot of glucose or a lot of sugar, you're energized, you have a lot of energy. And in kids, you see them eating candy, biscuits, everything sweet, pop and all. Just give a child a bottle of Coke or something, and that child is full of energy. It's like you have given the child caffeine. The child is all over the place. So sometimes the diet of these kids can also cause them to be very active, hyperactive at times. But that does not mean that they have that syndrome. They could just be reacting to excess energy that is in them because they have just been filled up with glucose and sugar. So if your child is hyperactive and you think you want to help tone down that activity, consider reducing their sugar intake too, because that can help in reducing their activity and ultimately reduce the possibility of misdiagnosis. Another cause of misdiagnosis of ADHD is that children need exercise. Just like kids are full of energy, they are bouncy, they're all over the place. And in this age of most people stay at home with their kids, they are docile, and maybe they are behind their parents' phones, iPad, and everything like that. Once they get to school where there is nothing to distract them, they find themselves still full of energy, still full of power. They want to dissipate this energy because they need exercise and activity to dissipate their energy, and then they get tired and are able to rest. Unlike adults, adults, you get busy. Even there are times you can lay in bed all day, but with toddlers, with children below 5 or 7 years, they need to release this energy. And this release energy can only be done when they are active, or when they're in the field, they're outside. But when they are not exercising and doing all these things, they dissipate it in class. And in class, meeting with other kids, they tend to now exercise and distracted, and probably seems like they are not paying attention, they are not focusing because the teacher wants them to sit still and not do anything. But this child has been busy being distracted at home with some other things like phones and tablets or TV, and now wants to exercise this energy because there's now a wider room, a wider space with more people than he feels he can run around with. Yes, this can be very tiring and very overwhelming for the teachers, but that does not mean that child has ADHD. So let's stop with the misdiagnosis. Let's give these children a chance to prove themselves, to show what they are capable of. Children need playtime, a lot and lots of playtime. So you don't need to, because you as a teacher, you're overwhelmed, or you as a teacher, you just want to feel relaxed. You want every child to be quiet in class, listen to instructions, don't move a muscle. Then you see a child that is active, that wants to exercise his energy. You term that as having ADHD. So parents, let's try to monitor our kids, watch them, and don't accept such diagnosis if your child has nothing related to such diagnosis. Nevertheless, I want to talk about the kids that have ADHD in reality. I will still advise parents, as much as we are talking about the aspect of misdiagnosis, there's still the reality that some children suffer this condition and they need to be diagnosed and given the proper treatment. They need to be looked into and treated, not just with drugs, but with maybe therapy and some other psychological, processes to help them dissipate, focus, and learn. Because in fact, kids with ADHD, one of the challenges is they are not able to focus. When you are given instructions, the child is just, doing something else. We might term that as being rebellious or being stubborn. But no, the child just needs to calm down. There are some hormonal activities that are working on the brain and keeping that child all over the place. So if your child is suggested that probably has this condition, is not able to focus, is hyperactive excessively, has attention deficiency, doesn't sit still, and you are also observing this, and you are not ready to accept the truth, because some parents actually see this in their kids, they are worried, but they don't want to face the reality. I want to advise you that actually it is not a stigma, it is not a disease, it is not something you should be ashamed of. That child might need help. So look into it, consider it, review that child, analyze what you can see, not just at school, but even at home. And if you need me, please see a doctor to do the full assessment. You have opportunity to get a second opinion. You don't need to just listen to one physician. Get a second opinion if pediatrician or a neurologist, whatever, who are the specialists managing this condition. And they'll be able to appropriately analyze and see if there is something to take care of, or everything is perfectly fine. And a lot of kids get over it. I mean, ADHD is not a death sentence, and sometimes it's not for life. Some children with the right counsel, coordination, support, they are able to stay focused, they're able to monitor, and they get better. In fact, many kids with the so-called ADHD title have already, they are doing great. They are good academically, they are out there in the world, they are doing wonders, because that energy, they put it into so many things and they specialize, they perfect, their profession. They're active. Yeah, some of them are autistics, and even a child that is autistic and on the spectrum is still doing great even in the world. All we need is support. All they need is help. All they need is for right and early diagnosis so that that support can start early enough to keep the child well. So, African parents, parents from immigrant parents, I want us to advise ourselves that as long as we don't want misdiagnosis, as long as we don't want to term every child, oh, we don't want that term on our kids, that we don't want them to like label our kids that way. Let's still face the reality. If there is something to be worried about, and you know deep down in your heart that this might be a possibility, let's not say, oh, the blood of Jesus, oh, it's not my portion. No, try and still take some steps to watch, to monitor, and correct. And I'm sure the kids will be happy because early diagnosis will help in resolving this case on time. So, like I said, it's been a trending topic, it's common, it's parents have been worried. No need to worry. No need to be afraid. Just take it as it comes and get the right diagnosis. And with that, that child will do well in school and anywhere they are. So until next time, we're going to still talk about many topics, things that are of concerns to maybe immigrant parents in the foreign land like I am here in Canada, and we can share a lot of ideas, share a lot of things so that we can learn from one another. I'd like you to leave your comment in the comment section. What do you think? What I don't know it all. I'm not a licensed health advisor. I am not a specialist in this area, but I just see that a lot of people are worried, and I made a little bit of research, and these are the points I came up with that I can see in many other things I researched. So you can study more things about it and leave a comment. Let other parents, and if you have more idea that's beyond what I have just said, please, we'd like to hear from you in the comment section. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.